Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. It was a violent Hell in a Cell match. It was an exciting Hell in a Cell match. It did what I love to feel with my attention span, which is I did not want it to end. The rivalry is now finished. The Wyatts abducted The Undertaker. But that's not the story everyone wants to talk about. They want to talk about, was the blood courtesy of a legitimate shot, or was it caused by blading where a wrestler intentionally cuts themselves? That's what everybody wants to take away from this. Vince McMahon is mad about the blood. Then he isn't mad about the blood. What to believe on this little thing we call the internet? Listen, ignore all the noise. Here's what you need to know. Was Vince thrilled about the blood? Probably not thrilled. In today's climate of WWE, it means certain protocols and policies have to immediately be activated because millions are watching and you got to live up to what you preach. The ref has to pull the gloves out that he keeps in his pocket in case of these situations. The ringside doctor has to come in and try to clean the blood up to ensure the safety of the talent continuing. Lesnar, the second time he was attended to by the ringside doctor who came in the ring, Lesnar pushed that doctor, and that's likely what made Vince mad. That wasn't some indie wrestler who was cast as an extra to be portraying a doctor who's physically trained to be touched by another wrestler. It was a legit ringside doctor who, for all intensive purposes, you could say was assaulted while trying to do his job. Nothing more will be made of it, but in this day and age of legality and HR, you never can be too sure. The performer's bleeding goes against WWE policy today, but deep down, even Vince, I think, knows that the blood was, of course, possible when he put two guys in that kind of a match, and that blood does have a level of intensity and realism to that match. Brock did not blade. Here's what drives me nuts with some fans. They know that it's one of the things they know. It's one of the secrets that have been well overexposed. They know that blading exists and is a part of the wrestling culture. They think it means that that's the only option, that if blood happens, that it had to be because somebody, bladed. They think that just because you have the possibility of blading, that's the only way blood can happen. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to be able to see if it actually happened. Here's what I mean. Watch Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, who this is in the beginning of the match, had no cuts, no lacerations. He hits the ring post. The camera's right there. He goes right in the ring post, and the blood starts to rush almost immediately, and it's coming from the top of his head. That's a spot you would not intentionally cut yourself at. It's point blank obvious. Now, The Undertaker, on the other hand, maybe. If you're watching on the WWE Network, go to the 2-hour and 29-minute mark. He gets whipped into the cage. Sure, that could have legit busted him open if he catches the fencing right, but he then hits the ground, has his head clutched near his two hands, and his head is almost under the ring. So that's the assuming the position that a lot of guys would do when they're then pulling out a blade from their tape or their gloves or wherever. I'm not saying Undertaker did, but if he was going to blade, that's the point in time he could have, because he got up, he was started to bleed, and it was coming from the top of the forehead, which is the place most wrestlers cut yourself. In the end, blade or no blade, it don't matter, because WWE needs both of these guys more than they need WWE. Nothing's going to happen to either of them. And look at it this way. The blood did its job. It made the match that much more memorable. That's the good thing when there's not much blood anymore in these recent years, is when you do have it, it makes a difference. TribLIVE Radio, Wrestling Reality, presented by Gladiators of the Cage. We got plenty more coming up. Your calls, tweets, and more when we get back.